Hi guys, so this is a video about how to add and subtract fractions. So we've got two examples. So first example is 1 over 4 plus 2 over 3. Second example is 4 over 7 minus a half. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to find a common denominator. That's the number below the line. This is the LCM of both denominators at the start. Then we're going to change the numerators. What you do to the top you must do to the bottom. And then we're going to add or subtract the numerators. So first thing I'm going to do is find a common denominator as well. Actually, the number on top is always called the numerator. The number on the bottom is always called the denominator. So in the fraction 2 over 3, the numerator is 2 and the denominator is 3. That's just what they're called. So if I take the LCM of 4 and 3, I'm just listing out multiples of 4. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, and so on. Multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. So I can see in both of my lists here that the lowest number that's in both of them is 12. So 12 is going to be your common denominator here. Now you might not have need to go into those workings to figure out that 12 is a common denominator, but if you're not sure how to find one, then list out multiples of both and then find the lowest one. So what you do to the bottom and do the top, you must do to each other. So if I take the 4 here, the 4 changes to a 12 in that fraction. So because the 4 changes to a 12, you have to think about what happens to the 4 that changes it into a 12. So you should be able to see that it gets times multiplied by 3. What you do to the bottom then you must do to the top. So I'm just going to take the 1 on top and I'm going to multiply it by 3 as well. So 1 multiplied by 3 is 3. Same with the other fraction then. So the 3 on the bottom is changed into a 4 this time. Sorry, it changed into a 12. So to get from a 3 to a 12 I must multiply by 4. So what you do to the bottom you must do to the top again. So if I take the 2 on top and times it by 4, that gives me 8. So 3 over 12 plus 8 over 12. And then last part I just add the two numerators. So just the numbers on top. You don't add the numbers on the bottom. So 3 plus 8 is 11. So my final answer here is 11 over 12. Second example, I'm going to take the LCM of 7 and 2 this time. That's going to be my common denominator. So 7, 14, 21, 28, 35. Those are all multiples of 7. Multiples of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and so on. So you'll see there then that the LCM is 14. So that's the number I put on the bottom in here. So my 7 this time changes into a 14. So to get there I have to times by 2. So I do the same at the top. I take the 4 on top and I times it by 2, which is 8. Then the 2 here changes into a 14. So to get from 2 to 14 you must multiply by 7. So I do the same then with the top. I take the 1 and I times it by 7, so that's 7. Just 1 times 7 is 7. And last step again, I just subtract the two numerators this time because obviously there's a subtract in the middle. So 8 minus 7 is 1, so 1 over 14. So that's my final answer. Right, if you want to just pause the video and have a go at these two, and then just play it on and I'll go over the answers. So first one, you're going to have to find a common denominator between 8 and 4. So you'll be able to do that quickly in your head. But if you're not, then list out multiples of 8 are 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, and so on. Multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, and so on. So you'll be able to spot this time that the lowest common multiple is 8 actually. It's the first multiple of 8. So 8, both numbers will divide evenly into 8. So 8 goes on the bottom. Then for the first one, you look at how you get from 8 to 8. So how you get from 8 to 8 here, You're not really changing it at all. You're multiplying it by 1. Do the same at the top. 6 multiplied by 1 is 6, so the fraction doesn't actually change. It's still 6 over 8. The second one, I've changed from a 4 to an 8. So to get from 4 to 8, you times by 2. So you do the same with the top, then you do the 1 times 2, which is 2. And then 6 plus 2 on top is, and we get 8. The denominator obviously says the same. So we get 8 over 8, and that's the same thing as 1. So anything over itself is 1. So that's the final answer for this one. Second one, we've got 8 and 5. So again, multiples of 8 are 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. Multiples of 5 are 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. And the next one would be 45. But you'll see that 40 is actually the common denominator here. So bottom. Keep my subtract. To get from 8 to 40, I have to times by 5. So I do the same at the top. 3 times 5 is 15. To get from 5 to 40, I have to times that by 8. So I do the same at the top. 1 times 8 is 8, or 1 multiplied by 8 is 8. So 15 minus 8 on top is 7. And the bottom obviously says the same. So 7 over 40, that's my final answer there.